Are you always hungry? You want to lose weight, but you're so hungry all the freaking time. You know you can't keep peanut butter in the house because you know you're going to burn through the whole jar. You're just going to justify it to yourself. So you can't even buy it. It is one of the worst feelings in the world, or so it feels like. I want to outline 10 things that you can take into consideration right now in order to stop being so hungry all the time. Now, let me also emphasize that this is somewhat in order of importance. You don't want to go and address the tiny things unless you have the bigger picture intact. What I mean by the bigger picture is starting with number 1. The first thing you should consider if you're always hungry is to make sure that you're eating enough calories for what it is that you're doing. If you've been creating a caloric deficit for long enough, your body is going to react by slowing down your metabolism. You may also find that you're hungry, that you're moody, that you're just generally not feeling like you have the energy to power through your workouts. The first thing that you want to consider is going back to eat at caloric maintenance if you've been eating at a deficit for long enough. So what this means is going back to eating at the amount of calories that your body needs to simply maintain your weight. If this sounds scary, I totally get it. But don't worry, going back to eat at maintenance is not going to mean that you're going to gain weight at all. What it's going to do is it's going to kind of act like a reset button for your metabolism. You can't keep going down in calories. You need to bring it back up again, to bring it back down again, to bring it back up again, to slightly bring it back down again. Trust me, you'll feel a lot better this way. Number 2, thing to consider if you are always hungry. How are you spacing your meals out? When I first started in my whole fitness journey, I was taking in about 8 meals a day. I thought that this was the way I had to do it if I wanted to keep my metabolism going and lose the weight, when in actuality, that really doesn't do anything at all to rev up your metabolism. As long as you're getting the calories, you're getting sufficient amount of fuel that your body needs. What you can consider is if you've been spacing out your meals and they don't feel adequate enough for you, lump some of them together. So take meal number 1 and 2, make that one meal. 3 and 4, make that one meal. Do it however you need to do it. Eat one giant meal a day. I know how you feel. The third thing you might want to consider, are you sleeping enough? Sleep is so important. And you might be one to say, oh, well, I function totally fine on 6 hours of sleep. I mean, think about it. I'm in New York. Everybody around me is like, oh, 5 hours, 6 hours, no problem, I'm fine. But are you still always hungry? This is a big factor to consider if you are, because sleep is going to regulate your hormones properly, and it's also going to allow your body to repair and recover and actually properly utilize the food that you have been consuming. So make sure you're getting enough sleep. If you're always hungry, fourth thing you might want to consider is hydration. Are you getting enough water? You may try to aim for 2 liters or a little bit more than that a day. Make sure that you're not confusing your thirst for hunger. The fifth thing that you want to consider, carbohydrate consumption, especially before, during, and after your workouts. One big thing to consider is that maybe you're just not repairing properly from the work that you're doing. I see it very often with women who are doing multiple times a week in spin class, high intensity classes, CrossFit. You might not be fueling properly with enough carbohydrates to really sustain during those workouts. On the flip side of this, there are also considerations to take for fat. Number 6, you just might not be getting enough fat. You might be the kind of person who reacts or responds a lot better to a higher fat content in the diet. Or you might be somebody who responds to higher carbohydrates better in the diet. It all depends on the training cycle that you're in, the type of training and the duration of the training that you've been doing, and really just how your body has responded thus far to carbs and fats. So number 5 and 6 are very intertwined. And it's not something that I can tell you works one better than the other without actually taking a look at what it is that you're doing. But this is an important factor to consider. If you are eating low fat and really high carbohydrates, say that your protein is where it should be, you're eating sufficient amount of calories for your body and activity levels, you haven't been in a deficit for a long time, you might want to consider that you might respond a little better to higher fat, lower carbs. Now, of course, like I said, experiment, play with your fats and your carbs. as long as you're getting enough protein and as long as you're just getting enough overall calories. Don't take away without adding something else in. That's where your metabolism slows, that's where you start to feel the hunger, and that's where you start to feel the general lethargy, which just keeps you from making the progress and really seeing the results that you want to see. The seventh thing that you want to consider is you might be eating too much processed food. You might be often experiencing sugar spikes or just effects from the food that you're eating, which cause you to crash. They could cause lethargy and cause hunger. And make sure that processed foods are kept to a minimum, and then you might be able to see what kind of difference this makes for you. Number 8, you want to watch your caffeine consumption. Caffeine in the right amounts has a thermogenic effect on the body, and used around the right times can be actually extremely beneficial. But it's also very easy to overdo it. So if you've been overdoing the caffeine, if you've been having numerous cups of coffee or too much green tea extract or anything like that, you might want to curb it a little bit because it's only going to make your body generate more heat, more warmth. Some people lose their appetite when they're on caffeine and other people become ravenous. Or you might lose your appetite and then later become absolutely ravenous. So you want to make sure that you're stabilizing things as much as possible to avoid the unpredictability with consuming too much caffeine. The ninth thing that you might want to consider if you are still always hungry is to make sure that you're eating enough protein. Getting the right amount of protein is not only going to lead to the preservation and the rebuilding of muscle mass, but it also sends signals to the brain that you're satiated, meaning that you're satisfied after you eat. The more muscle mass that we have on our frame, the more we're able to eat, and the more energy our body requires. Depending on your goals, you might want to make sure that you're eating about 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. Basically your weight minus your body fat percentage. If you are not getting enough protein, chances are your body just simply cannot repair and rebuild from the workouts that you've done. And the less muscle mass that you have on your frame, the less you're able to actually support a healthy and efficient metabolism. The 10th thing that you want to consider is to make sure that you're consuming enough fibrous veggies. So you might want to aim for about 1 cup to 2 cups with every single meal that you eat. They're packed with vitamins and minerals that your body needs to support a healthy metabolism, as well as healthy brain function and to regulate your mood and your hunger a lot better. Opt for tons of green veggies. Make sure you have a wide variety of cooked and raw green vegetables in your diet. I would generally avoid corn because it's very high in sugar. Steer free of sweet peas. Same thing, they tend to be a little higher in sugar. Fill up on fiber, as well as vitamins, minerals, and extra hydration. I made this video because I really know how it feels to have this big fitness goal in mind, this big goal for your body, for what you want to achieve, and just to constantly be hungry. You almost start to feel like fitness is just not for you because it's just so hard to be with the hunger. You don't have to be hungry. There are other ways to really make it and to make it enjoyable, because after all, this is something that you want to sustain. This is not just a temporary thing. It is my goal to help you realize what is on your plate so you can eat better and you can actually maximize your time in the gym. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. I would absolutely appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.